favorite albums of this year so far, 2025. Yeah, I got my new Stella zip-up hoodie jacket thingamabobber, and I'm kind of tripping because I do live in California and it is indeed summer. It is July. So I'm gonna start sweating like crazy. We're basically at like the halfway point, a little bit over the halfway point of 2025, and it is time to talk about my favorite albums of this year so far. Before I get into my list though, everybody let me know your favorite albums of this year so far, 2025, down in the comments below. And it's been a minute since I actually used my camera and have been in this, you know, showed this background. Enough of the yapping though. Starting off my list is Superheaven, self-titled album, released this year. Now, how do I feel about this album? I think it is a banger of an album. That's why it's on my list. And I know a lot of people are kind of mixed on it. I am quite happy with how this album sounded when I was listening to it. I did a reaction video on my channel, Dump Toes. You know, there was some stuff on there that I did not expect in terms of sound. Like the song Conflicted Mood just sounded so different compared to what you're used to hearing with Superheaven. You had the acoustics. It was really just like, I got this Bauhaus type of vibe, Cure type of vibe kind of, I guess. I thought that was very interesting. I did not expect that, like I said. And there was still, you know, that awesome distortion sound that you look for. Yeah, maybe a lot of people didn't really mess with it too much because, I don't know, it wasn't all over the place, but it wasn't, you know, it's not going to be jar. That was a point in time in your life, you know, so it's nostalgic. For an album 10 years later, because it was 10 years later at that point when it dropped, phenomenal. I thought it was awesome all the way through. Had some gaziness, had a little bit of acoustic stuff in there. It had that aggression as well. Numb to What Is Real is like one of my favorite songs, so yeah. Next up on my list is the album Revengeseekerz by Jane Remover. Honestly, this was like some of the first kind of music that I was listening to of Jane Remover. I have heard of Jane Remover, but this was my first time just like diving deep into an album, you know? And what an album to dive into, man. That really, like from the freaking get-go, it was kind of crazy. And that's kind of how it is with Jane Remover. You're gonna hear a lot of rambunctious noises, and for me, that's not really around like in my playlist all too much. And you know what I'm saying, like that's not really the stuff I'd be listening to, but for some reason I really gravitated towards it. I had a lot of fun with it, and the aggressiveness is kind of what piqued my interest, because with the beats, the samples, everything just combusted all together, in your face, erratic. It was awesome. It was very, very fun, angry kind of sounding, and I like that type of stuff, you know. I like, there's moments where you just have so much aggression within you and you don't know how to release that, but whenever you hear someone making music like that, that kind of releases that type of expression, you feel awesome, you feel good, you feel hype. And that's kind of how it was when I was listening to Revengeseekerz. I do know from what I've seen, like when it first dropped, a lot of people, reviewers like Fantano and all that stuff, really were into it, and I thought that was cool. I feel like Jane Remover is one of those names where it's like, it was like one of those names that people talk down on. And I didn't really have a musical opinion about Jane Remover because, like I said, I didn't listen to too much of the tunes until this point. And for an intro to an artist, I think this was pretty fucking awesome. Next up on my list is October Country by Ghost Mountain. This is absolute peak. Ghost Mountain returns, does like a mixtape, you know, so a mixtape album, whatever you want to call it. And it's been a long time, and I read a lot of interviews where what he was doing, there was like college involved, and this interview I read, he just seemed smart. And for some reason, this whole, not that I'm like lumped into it, but when you first heard of you know, Cemetery, Ghost Mountain, and Haunted Mound, you kind of thought it was just like, oh, these idiots making music that sounds stupid, you know? And I guess that kind of lingered in my brain for some reason, because I don't know, I feel like Haunted Mound kind of gets a bad rep, and maybe it's because the music is kind of all up everywhere, all up in your face, all up in your mom's face, your dad's face. There's just so much awesomeness within that collective. That collective is way smarter and just musically in tune. I don't know, I feel like a lot of people just hate to hate, and I never really hated on them, honestly. I remember back fucking 2020 or some shit like that, I remember hearing of Cemetery, and I listened to the music and I thought it was all over the place, but to me, I think that's exciting. I think that's fun. When it comes to rap, at that time, I don't think you heard too much of that stuff. I guess like Suicide Boys and shit, but with like Cemetery, Ghost Mountain, all that shit, it was so different. But yeah, this collective kind of got me back into the rap game, if you know what I'm saying. And I've said this a million times and I'm saying it again, because I was first into rap, SoundCloud rap, and then I kind of fell off. I started listening to underground rock and rock in general, Nirvana, whatever, and then underground bands became my thing, and then I just started listening to more and more Ghost Mountain, Cemetery, and they kind of brought me back to like, damn man, I need to be in tune with what's going on. I need to be in touch with what's going on. Start to finish, there were some moments in there where it felt like exactly what it was called, October country. It felt like October, sounded like October. It was ghostly, it kind of had some sounds in there that reminded me of like Stranger Things, and that's kind of hilarious because I don't know, I don't really watch, I haven't watched that since like season 2, but you know what I'm saying, like just that 80s type of fucking movie entrance music, horror. Vocals on here are dope. So many songs on here that I freaking love, like Stocks, freaking Molder. Shout out Ghost Mound, shout out Haunted Mound. Fire. Next album on my list is Turnstile's Never Enough, and a lot of people have a lot of opinions about this album. You know, I guess that comes with the territory when you're a band that explodes like that and that has deep roots into hardcore. You're gonna have the people that are like, why the fuck did you change your sound? And you're gonna have people that love you and understand. I think Turnstile just kind of naturally evolved and progressed as a band, and nothing really seems too fake about them. Nothing seems fake at all, actually. You're gonna have haters in every freaking corner ever, and it's kind of annoying because it's like, bro, like, enjoy the music. I'm not saying you can't discuss the music, I'm not saying that you can't have different opinions and all that stuff, but when it comes to saying like you sold out or you did this, you did that, you're in Taco Bell commercials or whatever the fuck, I'm just like, dude, do you not want a band to succeed? It's not like they changed their sound completely, because they're still going crazy, bro. They still have hardcore within their fucking sound. The riffs, the pacing, the vocals, you know, there's just some different type of elements within this album that is fascinating. A lot of people say that it's like Glow On Part 2, and I could understand why people say that, but I feel like it's a lot different. I feel like this album from start to finish just kind of progresses so nicely, so much more nicer than Glow On in my opinion. And yeah, I love basically most of the songs on here, even the songs that are kind of like segues. Yeah, Turnstile, always gonna have haters. I'm not gonna be one of them. Yeah, that's definitely like the album of this year so far that a lot of people, you know, going back and forth in comment sections all the time, bro. Like any Turnstile video you'll find on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, you're gonna have a lot of negativity, and it's quite unfortunate because that band is generational. Next album on my list is Heat Death of the Universe by Dead Butterflies, and this band is quite fascinating to me. I am a big fan of this band, and this whole entire album is so fucking dope, dude. Like, it's emo, it's all this fucking shit, and it just reminds me of like those, I guess, like MySpace type of music, even though I wasn't really conscious at that time. Even though I was like in the prime of like MySpace. What years were those? Like 06 to like 2010 or something, 06 to like 09, some shit like that. Yeah, I was like 5 years old, and then all the way to like, you know, I was like 10 years old in like 2011, some shit like that. Anyways, it reminds me of that, and bro, I kind of wish I was a lot older during that time. It would have been such a time to be alive, and it just felt like there was a lot of fun back in those days. And this album specifically by Dead Butterflies reminds me of that type of music and time period and all that stuff. And hell yeah, dude, there's a bunch of stuff that is like fast paced, there's some stuff that's kind of slowed down, so it's really like pick your poison, if you will. Not that there's poison involved, but yeah, dude, this shit is fucking awesome. It's very fun, catchy, the screaming is awesome. Reminds me of like fucking I Set My Friends on Fire. Good times all around. Shout out to Dead Butterflies, are an up and coming band, and I see that their monthly listeners goes up by the month, by the day, so that's cool to see them grow. I will gladly talk about them for a long time. Next album on my list is actually like my last album, and maybe I'm forgetting something, but I've literally tried to find the shit that I was really bumping this year that really made me smile and made me like ponder. And yeah, it's not like too long of a list, but we're at the halfway point, so it's like it's not every album ever. But at the end of the year, I'm gonna recap and talk about all the albums that I enjoyed and loved. So this last one is Cryogeyser's album, self-titled album. And my goodness, Cryogeyser, dude, I saw them like 2023, I believe, or some shit, and I had their set list, bruh. I had their set list. And then I did my laundry and my fucking set list was in there, and it fucked up the whole entire set list. Anyways, whatever. It would be plastered on my wall right now. But they're one of those bands, bro, where it's like, oh, I can't wait for them to like blow up. I mean, they have a lot of streams, a lot of listeners at this moment in time, but I feel like they could be like one of those fucking amazing bands that has like millions of monthly listeners, because if you're seeing them live, bro, unbelievable. Like, I'm being dead ass. Cryogeyser is one of the best bands I've ever seen in my life. The vocals go bonkers. The vocals are delightful. The guitar playing is amazing. Yeah, top tier band, top tier music. And self-titled album from this year was amazing. Very good, very good. I feel like they could make anything sound good. They could read a fucking instruction manual or something and make it sound good. That's the type of band that they are, the type of energy that they bring. And yeah, dude, fucking yeah, I love that band. Cryogeyser, fucking killing it. And yeah, I feel like my Alexa put me on a long time ago, as she does with nearly everything. But yeah, what else do I have to say about that album? I mean, I feel like me saying that they could make anything sound good kind of encapsulates everything perfectly. So yeah, they don't have bad songs, not just on this album, but in their entire discography and their entire existence. Let me know down in the comments if you agree. Let me know down in the comments what your favorite albums of this year have been. I'm very curious. I like reading your guys' comments. And what's with the negative comments in my last video? You guys are fucking stupid. Anyways, don't be stupid, don't be mean, and yeah, brush your teeth or something. Like I said, your favorite albums of this year so far, and albums you can't wait for. It is my time to go now, Dump Toes. Out.